Okay. What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
And this is the Courtside View Podcast, and we are back today to discuss the AFC South. And man, we're 2 weeks away from the NFL season starting. The AFC South.
It's about time.
Yeah, it's about time, man. Football season is almost here. College football season. We have week 0 starting today. It's a lot. It's going to be a lot of good sports, a lot of good football these next few months. So let's start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the thing with Jacksonville. They have made a lot of moves this offseason in the NFL draft and free agency. Let's go to, free agency. I think the biggest acquisition I could say the Jacksonville Jaguars have made is they were able to get a quality center. They were able to get Mitch Morse from the Buffalo Bills. He's a decent center, and as we know last year, the biggest question mark for the Jacksonville Jaguars was their offensive line. So that's going to help them. But they still have a problem on the offensive line. Brandon Sheriff and Mitch Morse, they are really, really good, but everybody else is a question mark. Cam Robinson, everybody else. And I went on Twitter and I was searching up, just seeing what the vibe was regarding the offensive line of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it's still the same. Like, people are still a bit pessimistic regarding the offensive line. So I guess that's still going to be an issue this year. But I think one of the good things about Jacksonville this year is, one, they have time to game plan around it, and two, the receivers that they acquired. So in free agency, they acquired Gabe Davis, who's a speed guy. He could stretch the field, which they were lacking last season. Although he does get banged up a lot, he still adds a vertical threat, which is good. They need something like that. And then they drafted Brian Thomas Jr., who is also a speedster as well. He can run some routes. He can separate. He's a really, really good receiver, and he'll add another dimension to the offense that they were lacking last year. Calvin Ridley, at this stage of his career, I wouldn't say he's the fastest receiver out there. Like, he obviously he can run, but I think Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis add something a lot different than what Calvin Ridley and obviously Christian Kirk and Zay Jones were adding to that team. These two guys, they can actually run really fast, and teams are going to have a lot of difficulty trying to stay attached to them. Like the corners, the safeties, it's going to be difficult, but I just think that this offensive line is going to be a problem. My thing is with this offensive line, Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. When everything is in structure, I feel like Trevor Lawrence is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. But when you have to improvise, I don't know if he's that good. How do you feel about the Jacksonville Jaguars offense this year?
I think the offense will be pretty solid. You still got Travis Etienne running the ball. You still got Evan Ingram, who had a pretty good year last year at tight end. You got new receivers, and you still got Christian Kirk out working in the slot. You added Brian Thomas Jr., who I was pretty high on coming out in the draft. I'm not too high on Gabe Davis, but it could be because I'm salty he was selling my fantasy season last year. So, I mean, Gabe Davis, he's cool. You know, he's a cool wide receiver 3, you know. It seems like they got – yeah, I mean, but like you said, the offensive line is the real question for the Jags. I'm looking at the line. Obviously, I recognize pretty much all of these dudes because I play MUT. But Anton Harrison, I would
Mm-hmm.
actually like them coming out of the draft. That was last year, I believe. I'm not sure how he's progressed, or if he's get out, or if he was even all that good last year. But I think he is. I hope he's doing all right. But for all, I think the offense will be solid. It's just depending on if Trevor Lawrence is going to, or the line is going to block, or Trevor Lawrence is going to make the necessary plays.
Mm, mm. I think
Now,
another thing. Yeah. Oh,
no,
go
go ahead,
go
go ahead.
go ahead. No,
No, I
go
was
ahead.
going to
Go
go
ahead.
switch to the defense. I'm gonna let
Oh,
you get
okay.
this thought out.
Okay. So I think another thing is the offense coordinator, Press
Who
Taylor.
is the
Last
coordinator?
Press
Mm,
Taylor, you got to remember last year there was questions about his scheme and just how predictable it is. Well, this year you have another year under your belt and you can adjust some things with this offensive line. You're gonna have to do a lot more quick throws. It's gonna be a lot more quick passes, a lot more uh, concepts where you get the ball out quickly because of the offensive line. So this season, how do they adjust with the new weapons that they added and the fact that the offensive line is still not that good? We'll see. We'll see. It seems like Doug Peterson has all faith in Press Taylor. If he didn't, then he probably would have took back the offensive duties. That's going to be another question mark for this team. How does the offensive coordinator game plan? How does he adjust? Because it wasn't relatively good last year.
yeah, that makes sense. I'm
Mhm.
surprised they running it back with him.
Yeah.
I guess it was like the first year of that regime,
Hmm.
so we'll see. Let me get into the defense though. They did get Eric Armstead, former
Hmm.
defensive tackle for the 49ers. They
Hmm.
still got Josh Hines Allen. Got to make the distinction now. Um,
Hmm.
they I think is Ronald Darby a new addition?
Yeah, Ronald Darby is a new
Yeah,
addition.
okay. Darnell Savage as well.
Hmm.
So I mean, they made some moves in the offseason, which is a good thing. But last year that defense started off red hot like the first 5 or so weeks, and then
Hmm.
over as the season went on, they just couldn't continue that same success, and they were just getting cooked by everybody and ended up missing the playoffs because of it. They couldn't beat. Was it? No. I think did they win? I don't remember. They missed the playoffs because of something. I forgot exactly how it went down.
I do know what you're talking about. I forget the team. I don't know if it was the Titans. It was some team that they lost to.
It
I
might
can't
have been the Titans actually.
I can't remember, but I do know what you're talking about. You got to remember, during that time, Trevor Lawrence also was dealing with a major injury, but he was trying to play
Yeah.
through it. So there was just a lot going on with that team. I think they won like 9 games, but it wasn't the prettiest. They were very one dimensional in their offense. Like they relied so heavily on we're talking about the defense, but yeah, the defense, you're right. It definitely regressed. That's why they got a new defensive coordinator. They got the defensive coordinator from the Falcons. If you remember last year, the Falcons, like that defense was carrying that team for the majority of the season. And the fact that they were able to get Ryan Nielsen, who
Hmm.
I talked to my cousin who's a Falcons fan. He really liked Ryan Nielsen. And so for them to get him, that's good. I think the defense will be good. I just think that the offense is where I'm more so concerned, specifically the offensive line, and also how do they game plan around it? Because Travis Etienne, he was supposed to be just this dynamic player for them, and you could say he was a little bit of a disappointment. Like he showed some flashes, but for the most part, he was a little disappointing. Maybe because of the run blocking, you could say maybe the offensive line wasn't blocking for him as well. But at the same time, like even when he was a pass catcher, he wasn't the greatest. So I mean, Travis Etienne, we need to see more from him this year.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
another thing. That's another thing. But I like this team overall. I think they're gonna improve. I think this is a 10-win team. I think the additions on offense will definitely help a lot. It seems like they wanted to add more speed on the outside, and they wanted to. I think they're gonna allow Trevor Lawrence to just deliver the ball a lot faster than he usually because of the offensive line. So I like this team a lot. I think they'll win 10 games. I think they'll definitely be in the playoff picture. I will be shocked if they don't make the playoffs this year. I think they should be that good. I think they should be good enough to make the playoffs in this division. Although the Colt, well, let me not say that because the division actually got a lot better. So yeah, I think they're probably the second best team in this division, in my opinion. I just think Trevor Lawrence, he has to take a leap this year. Like, there's no excuse. This is the season. This is year 4, and if you can't take a leap this year, then I don't know when he's going to take a leap, because this is the year.
He just got paid too. So hey, it's time to put up a shut up, I guess. But yeah, man, I think I'm agreeing with you. I think this is around a 10-win team. I like the roster. They got dudes on the field. They just gotta pretty much execute and remain consistent throughout the season with their play, if not get better. So it's on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders. He ain't have the greatest year last year, dealing with injuries and all of that. Hopefully that offensive scheme will be put and used to the player's best ability, because as far as I know, a lot of the things they was doing with ETN was not beneficial to his play style. Because as we know, ETN is a burner, and it was a lot of runs just directly up the middle, a lot of halfback dives and stuff, and that's not his game.
No, he's not a between the tackles type of guy.
Yeah, so then they got to I don't know. I feel like the best bet for them, you just got to create layups for your QB. You got to scheme guys open. It didn't seem like they did much of that last year. So
yeah,
get the ball to your playmakers' hands and let them cook.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. All right, let's go to the Tennessee Titans. I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't do a whole lot of research on Tennessee.
Me either.
No disrespect to Tennessee, it's just I just didn't have a whole lot of time. I do know some things about Tennessee, especially their new coach. Obviously, Will Levis. They brought in Calvin Ridley, so there's some things that I do know about Tennessee. Defensively, on the other hand, I don't think they were that good defensively last year, if I'm not mistaken.
They weren't. The bright spot of that defense was Big Jeff.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Let's see what else. Okay. Coaching staff.
Was you looking for the Titans coaching staff?
Oh yeah, already got that. I'm just typing in the all the information, like free agents, draft picks. Okay.
Draft picks, they drafted J.C. Latham, Tavondre Sweat, Jaquan Jackson, who I'm not familiar with. They drafted a lot of people. Good grief. But these are like a lot of these dudes are like third stringers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know really much of these dudes.
The first 2 rounds, I like the first 2 rounds. But after that, I really have no clue. Cedric Gray, I'm not very familiar with him, but the first 2 guys, I'm very familiar with him. J.C. Latham, I expect
they did get L'Jarius Sneed.
Yep, they did. They traded for him. I don't know how he'll play on that team.
And Awuzie. What the heck? Hold on.
Yeah, I do remember them having a big free agency. I do remember that. Yeah. They got some
Kenneth Murray, man, he's all right.
Tyler Boyd.
They was doing some work, huh?
Yeah, they were. They're trying to give
sleeper team question mark?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, they also got Tony Pollard. I forgot about that.
Yeah, Tony Pollard as well. I forgot about that too. I have to look at the depth chart.
The Titans been kind of suiting up.
Kenneth Murray, he was mid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got some dudes. Let's see, what is the depth chart looking like?
They look all right on paper.
Hmm.
Just and I don't know what people been saying about Will Levis as far as camp goes and everything, but I heard he's been doing all right.
He's still a question mark for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm still not all the way there when it comes to Will Levis. I need to see more. He obviously has a big arm.
Hmm.
He's mobile too. He can scramble occasionally. With this offense, you have a guy in Brian Callahan. I think he comes from the West Coast. Does he come from the West Coast scheme? I forget. Um,
Oh yeah, I
I,
forgot. I know
I
who he
think
is though.
yeah, obviously, and a good thing is that his father, who if you know, he was the O line coach for the Cowboys. He was O line coach for the Washington Commanders at one point. He's one of the best O line coaches ever. Like everywhere he goes, the O line gets significantly better. So that's a good hire for the Tennessee Titans. I expect some big things on the offensive side. I think Brian Callahan will add a lot to just improvement to Will Levis if Will Levis were to eventually reach his potential. This seems like an ideal situation for Will Levis. There's no excuses. I mean, you have a better wide receiver core than you've ever had. They brought in a good head coach. Well, I wouldn't say good head coach, but they brought in a head coach that is offensive minded, that knows how to win, that's coached Joe Burrow, that has helped Joe Burrow become one of the better QBs in the NFL. You still have DeAndre Hopkins. He is injured. Yeah, he is coming
Yeah.
off injury, but he'll eventually come back. Traylon Burks, but Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, um, that tight end from Maryland, he's pretty good. Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears. So they have some pieces. They have
Oh yeah.
some pieces. And defensively, they got a little bit better. I still think this team is I mean, I understand they got better, but
Compared to
I
the
think
rest of the division, it's like
yeah, I don't know if they better than the other teams though. It's all dependent on Will Levis at the end of the day. If he balls out, I think they can do some things, but I just don't see it. I know
yeah.
Titans fans. Sorry, Titans fans, but I just don't see it. Like,
I mean, I like the moves that they made, but
yeah,
compared to the rest of the division, it's kind of like it really depends on Will Levis.
I know.
And
I
I'm
know we
looking at this
simplifying it.
offensive line. I'm like,
I don't really know too much about these dudes besides
I know
the
about Peter
offensive line they
Skoronsky.
drafted. Yeah, it's just oof. I don't know, man. It's all on Will Levis and Brian Callahan. How will Brian Callahan scheme this team? How will Brian Callahan uh how will he construct the offense is just a question mark for me, because Will Levis and Joe Burrow are completely different quarterbacks. Like it is night and day difference. Like they do not play the same at all. Like there's nothing about them just from a skill set aspect that you say, oh yeah, he's very similar. Like nah, they're way different. It's not like he's going from like a Josh Allen per se to Will Levis. Like he went from Joe Burrow to Will Levis. Like they are polar opposites.
Yeah.
So good luck, I guess. Good luck. I don't think they're going to be trash. I don't, unless Will Levis stinks up the joint. I just don't see how they're better than all the other teams. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry, guys. Like I can't really give you a full blown analysis on this team, but I just got to keep it simple. They improved, but not as much as not to the degree of being better than the other three teams that we're breaking down and analyzing. So
Yeah. I don't think they'll be horrible.
Nah, they're gonna compete, but like to what degree?
That is true.
What degree? All right, let's go to the next team on the
The
list,
Colts.
the Indianapolis Colts. Now we saw the
This
pre.
is
I'm
a
not. Yeah,
polarizing team
we saw the preseason.
because everyone is having questions on Anthony Richardson because his preseason reps haven't been the greatest at
And
times.
training camp.
Yeah, in training camp, but he's young. This is technically he played a few games last year. Got hurt.
Show some flashes.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
I'm gonna give him some more grace. I'm gonna give him some more time.
yeah,
He's
me
still probably
too.
getting back. And I think wasn't his shoulder. His shoulder got hurt.
Yeah, it was a shoulder. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, that's gonna take a. You got to get back in the rhythm and everything. So I'm gonna give him some more time. I'm not gonna count him out like all these other uh people who swear to QB evaluators and everything. But I like
Mhm.
the Colts roster, especially on
Me too.
offense.
Me too. I like him.
They still got Pittman. They drafted my guy AD Mitchell, who I
Mm-hmm.
wanted so bad. But
Latu, your boy.
dog, he is nice.
Yeah, he's nice. I
But I
like
don't
him.
know. I know people was concerned about it. I just don't understand how did he fall so far. But anywho, you got Jonathan Taylor. He's back and fully healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, man, I'm looking for fantasy people. Y'all. I know everybody got their eyes on JT in the first round. And we ain't talking Tatum, but the offensive line still solid. Got Bernard Raymond, Quentin Nelson,
Oh, he's a
Ryan
dog.
Kelly. I
Yeah.
will say this about the Colts. The Colts, ever since that whole Andrew Luck's fiasco, they have made it a staple to have a solid O line.
Mm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I can respect that. And, good O line is going to take you far. That's how Gardner Minshew was still in them games um all last year. Up until like pretty much the final week of the season, they still had a chance to go to the playoffs. And on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not seeing anything too different.
Yeah, not much.
Yeah, they obviously they drafted Latu. Um, some drafted some other guys I'm not too familiar with, but there's a lot of young dudes on that team. So I guess they just waiting for development to happen. But Kenny Moore, he kind of had a down year last year.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm not too sold on this defense.
DeForest Buckner.
I do like DeForest Buckner, but
DeForest Buckner. Yeah.
they play
Zaire
harder. They
Franklin.
play hard though.
Zaire Franklin. Nick
Yeah,
Cross.
I think there'll be who's the defensive coordinator?
It's Gus Bradley.
Gus Bradley. I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with his game, so I
remember
can't.
you remember you used to coach for the Jaguars, and I think he coach for nah, he didn't coach for Seattle. I don't well, actually he may have coached for Seattle. But yeah, man, that's yeah. This team,
I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna have to see.
this team, just like with the Titans, is all about Anthony Richardson at the end of the day. But I will say that they
They
can
do
lean on the
start.
running game. They can lean on the running game. I don't think it's solely going to be based on Anthony Richardson playing well because they have other ways of beating you, which is the running game with Jonathan Taylor. And listen, at the end of the day, what we saw in preseason, the third game with Anthony Richardson, I could tell number one, they were trying to see, okay, can he throw from the pocket consistently? And it's obvious he can't. The regular season, they're going to do some RPOs, it's going to be read option, design run plays. So you're not going to see him in the pocket a whole lot. He's going to have to eventually develop into that. But for right now, it's not going to be like the main thing overall. Like they're gonna mix it up with him. And
Oh,
so
yeah. I trust
he's gonna
Shane Steichen.
yeah, and I think it's gonna be like year two Jalen Hurts. That's how I look at it, where he's not going to be that. He's not going to be a polished passer, but because of his running ability, they'll be able to move the chains and score. My question with Anthony Richardson: will he stay healthy? If they're going to do RPOs, if they're going to do read options, design runs, he needs to protect himself because he got hurt last year. And although he is very big in stature and like he's not one of those like very
He, he's very bulky.
small QBs. Yeah, he's built like who I compare him to. I'm not gonna say Cam, but like he's built like one of those like very strong, very athletic QBs, and he's not built like a Matt Ryan or a Kirk Cousins or anything like that. It's just about protecting himself and making sure that he can last the season. That's the biggest question mark for me when it comes to Anthony Richardson, besides the passing ability. I know one thing, they better not get on no 3rd and long, 3rd and 13, because if they get a 3rd and long, 3rd and 13, you know what teams, it's like, hey, just stop the run and making sure that he's not able to throw the ball, because he has an arm, so he could throw the
Oh
ball like
yeah,
50 plus yards with ease. But force him to throw the ball in the middle of the field.
intermediate. Yeah,
Yeah, because that's his weakness.
yeah. I feel like a lot of these passing concepts, we're going to have them be on schedule and like, okay, it's such and such. We looking for this route. If it's open, throw it. If not, I don't know what they're going to do. But
Yeah.
I think what they want to do, because he wasn't the best decision maker in college. Like a lot
No,
of
it
times, you'd be
wasn't.
like, what was that? So they're probably going to tailor that offense around him not trying to think too much. A lot more. Defense is probably going to take away his first read a lot. And so, yeah, I mean, I still believe in Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. I ain't gonna say I believe in him. I'll just say I'm not going to write him
I'm not
off.
going. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna write him off. Yeah, I just think right now, he hasn't had a full season, so it would be
Irresponsible.
irresponsible for me to just automatically say out of one preseason game and one training camp scrimmage between the Bengals to say, oh yeah, he's cooked food. Like I'm not gonna say that just yet. I'm not gonna put my pom pom. I'm not gonna like say, oh yeah, he's gonna be great. I'm not gonna do all that, but I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, he's trash. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna write him off. This team has the potential to be. They have the potential to be like arguably the best, but I'm not gonna go that far. I just think with Anthony Richardson and Shane Steichen, they have the qualities, they have the potential to be first or second in the division, but at the end of the day, you got to eventually play quarterback. And with Anthony Richardson, I'm not so sure that he can do that right now.
Don't let them get down two possessions.
Oh man, yeah, that's another thing. Like they have to go out swinging early. You have to be aggressive because Anthony Richardson and his ability to throw the football, like he can't come back unless the defense is like lights out, which I don't think they will be. I think they'll be more so middle of the pack. Yeah, this team, they, yeah, they're looking like third place to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's,
I mean, it's a tough
but I,
division, so it ain't no shame in
yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. They can still be a really, really good team, but I see them as like third place to me. All right, let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah, let's go to
The
the
Houston
last.
Texans.
Yeah, the Houston Texans. I like this team a lot.
This is almost kind of like a foregone conclusion at this point. This is like the
Yeah.
freaking super team, borderline super team. They got dudes all over the place.
Hey man, see what happens when you find your quarterback.
Rookie
Everything
contract.
everything comes in place afterwards.
This is
Yeah.
crazy how many freaking dudes they got on this team. How did they get Daniil Hunter?
Hey, when you got
Oh
a
my goodness.
rookie deal, you can pay for a lot of those guys.
Like it's just dudes all over this defense. Sting, that's my dog.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he's
Freaking
going to take
Will
a leap this
Anderson.
year.
Oh
He's
yeah.
going to take a
Oh
leap
yeah.
this year.
Will Anderson, who everybody knows was the best edge guy out the draft last year, had a really
Mm-hmm.
good rookie season. Um,
He did.
you got freaking like I just said, Daniil Hunter, Jalen Petre.
Mm-hmm.
They even brought Jimmy Ward to the party.
Mm-hmm.
They got Aziz Al Shahir, who's very underrated linebacker. I wanted him on the Cowboys personally, but of course Jerry and them had other plans. Um, I don't know about Mario Edwards. I know who he is, but I can't speak on his game.
Yeah,
They,
he's
but they brought Jeff Okuda to the party too. Wait,
yeah.
C.J. Henderson is still in the league? Hmm. Hey man, they got there's dudes, man. But even on offense, we already know about all the Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank
Mm-hmm.
Dell.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, even Noah Brown had a breakout year last year. That was nobody expected that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they even brought in Joe Mixon, who people say he's cooked. I think he's better than Damian Pierce, respectfully.
Yeah,
Um,
he's definitely better than David
yeah,
Pierce. It's not even
yeah.
close.
Dalton Schultz had a good year with them last year too. And our C.J.
Mm-hmm.
Stroud, he in his sophomore season. I don't think he's going to get hit. I don't think he's going to have a sophomore slump. Personally, he just has way too many dudes. They came in the line. They got some help with the line. They brought in Shaq Mason
Mm-hmm.
from Tampa Bay. I don't know. I don't see how this team can really falter like that. Like I would not be surprised if they were the second seed in the AFC.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe even first. I mean, shoot, who
Yeah.
knows what the Chiefs going to do?
D'Amico Ryans and Bobby Slowick, they have
Yeah,
really
man,
turned around this team a lot. Bobby Slowick coming from
must be nice.
49ers tree. And the thing with Bobby Slowick is that I'm not going to say the offensive line is the greatest, but they know how to work around it. They know how to scheme around the offensive line, and
And
that's the problem
CJ's
with
a good QB.
Jacksonville
He knows
Jaguars.
how to sense
Yeah,
pressure and all of that. And step up
yeah,
when necessary. And
yeah.
he could,
So
and he knows how to make plays off script. We seen it all last year.
he's a great improviser. He's great instructor. This is what makes him one of the better QBs in the NFL. This is what made him arguably one of the best uh, rookie QB seasons we ever seen because he was so good so early. Like it made
Yeah,
no sense just how polished he already was and the way he was able to process stuff at an early age. Like he's like 21, 22, and he's already looking like an elite quarterback. It's ridiculous. Like it just makes no sense just how good he is. He doesn't have, I wouldn't say his arm strength is elite, but he's an elite, like
he
just
makes the throws. He makes all the throws.
absolutely, like in terms of accuracy, he's one of the best in the NFL. And he was a rookie last year. It's just stupid how good he is. Tank Dell is amazing. He's coming back from injury, but I expect him to still be great. Stephon Diggs, we already know, as long as he keep his head on straight and he doesn't complain, we should expect a lot of good things for Stephon Diggs. Nico Collins, I don't even need to say anything about Nico Collins. You already know this dude right here. He was just dominant, just absolutely dominant for them. Came out of nowhere and
Yeah,
just was amazing for them. Amazing for my fantasy team also. So, yeah, man, Joe Mixon. The thing with Joe Mixon, he'll be good. He'll be solid for them. He's definitely way better than the running backs they had before. He'll be better than Devin Singletary. He'll be better than Damian Pierce. So I expect him to be okay. It's just at times with the Bengals, especially between the tackles, he wasn't the greatest. So, but he doesn't really need to be that great because again, it's a pass happy offense and it's CJ Stroud and you have
yeah.
all these receivers. All you have to do is make sure you're able to catch the ball and make sure you're able to run between the tackles occasionally. That's all you have to do. And also be a good blocker. Be a good run blocker. You're good. You're straight. That's all you got to do. Defensively, we saw last year with D'Amico Ryans, he was able to coach this defense, and they were respectable. They were good enough to get this team into the playoffs, to win a playoff game. This team should be in the contention for the Super Bowl. They should be up there. They should be in the top whatever you want to rank them, in the top 5, wherever you want to rank them. I don't care. But this team, they have the capability of representing the AFC for the Super Bowl. I think this is easily the best team in the AFC South. I just really like this team. I just really do.
Yeah.
The only thing I could say, I mean, like, do you like their trenches? Are you very? I mean, Daniil Hunter is solid. Will Anderson is solid. The linebacking position, I'm not too familiar with the linebacking position. Are you very familiar with the linebacking position? Because right now I'm looking at these names. I'm like, who? I'm like, are they? I don't know.
I know about Henry To'oto. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm not sure if he was good last year. He was a rookie, so I'm not too sure about him and how his development is coming along. I know about Aziz Al Shahir though. He's a pretty underrated guy.
Okay.
So that was a great get for them in the off season. I'm not sure about Christian Harris either. I'm not really sure.
Yeah. So like the
But
linebacking
everybody else, I have
position,
somewhat of an idea on. So
I'm not too familiar with. I don't know if they are necessarily good on that end. The corners are like Devin, Derek Stingley. He's an amazing corner, and Jimmy Ward at safety. He's amazing. Jalen Petrie at free safety. He's okay. But the other corners like Desmond King and Kamari Lannister, like I don't know. Yeah. Oh, sorry, somebody. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, man, like the corners, besides Derek Stingley, I'm like, I don't know. I don't really like the corners too much.
yeah, they definitely could be better, but as long as Sting is healthy, someone's wide receiver one getting locked up every year, every game. So
Yeah, Jeff Okuda, like, yeah, they needed. Hey, that front four, they're gonna have to get after, because if they don't, then the cornerbacks, whew, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long day. Derek Stingley can only do so much. He's only one man.
yeah. But then you gotta, even if you do score on the defense, you gotta win the band for band. So
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's rank the teams. This should be very quick. So, number
yeah,
1, I'm going with the Houston Texans. Pretty easy. They're the best team. They had the best roster. They had the best QB. They had the best coaching staff with the offensive coordinator and the head coach. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just think that they're also too talented. I like Trevor Lawrence. I like the additions of Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis, and also Mitch Morse from the Buffalo Bills. I like that addition. That'll help the offensive line. Uh, they also brought in defensive coordinator from the Atlanta Falcons. He was really good last year for the Atlanta Falcons, and Ryan Nielsen. So I like a lot of the moves that they made. It's just about this year, how are they going to scheme around the very mediocre to pretty bad offensive line. They have another year with Press Taylor. I think they'll figure out a way to get Trevor Lawrence to deliver the football out of his hands a lot quicker. Then number 3, I'm gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts. I just think there's still a question mark with Anthony Richardson. How good is he offensively? I do like the receivers with A.D. Mitchell, with Josh Downs, and then you still have Michael Pippen. You brought, Jonathan Taylor's still there. He came back from, I think it was injury last year, but now was it injury? I think it was an injury. Yeah, something like that. And he's going to be fresh. He's going to be rejuvenated. He also got paid, so that's good. Shane Steichen, we already know he's one of the better offensive minds in the NFL. Defensively, I'm not really too comfortable with it, but I think they'll be middle of the pack. They're number 3, and then number 4 is the Tennessee Titans. I understand that they signed a lot of dudes in free agency. They brought in a lot of quality talent. They brought in Calvin Ridley. They still have DeAndre Hopkins, but I'm still not all the way there with Will Levis. Tony Pollard, is he still good enough? Was that just the Cowboy scheme? I don't know. Brian Callahan, I think he's a quality offensive mind, but you're going from Joe Burrow to Will Levis, completely different playing styles. I have the Titans at 4. What about you?
You could not have put that any better than I could. But yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. I got the Texans one. They just have the better roster, like I said, the better coaching staff, the best QB in the division, and top two defense in the division more than likely. And then on the number two, I'm gonna go Jacksonville.
Mhm.
They have a pretty solid roster. It just depends on um, Trevor Lawrence and how he performs, and if the defense can maintain success throughout the entire year and not falter off midway through the season like last year. Then I'm gonna go with the Colts at three. Anthony Richardson. How will he progress?
Mhm.
How is the offense going to look? What is the scheme going to be like? Jonathan Taylor, is he going to be healthy for the full year? Um, things I know Josh Downs is actually hurt. I don't know how long the injury timeline is, but yeah, the defense, like you said, is probably going to be so-so. Bend but don't break probably. And
Mhm.
then the fourth place, I'm gonna put the Titans. Don't know about Will Levis. Will Levis exactly. It's gonna be year two for him though.
Yeah.
D Hop is hurt, but they got Calvin Ridley, and so yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Titans, Jags, Colts, Titans. Wait, no,
Yeah.
Texans,
Yeah.
Texans,
Yeah.
Jags, Colts, Titans.
Yeah. 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 I wanna ask you this before we move on to the AFC West. News came out about the Commanders. They traded Jahan Dotson to the Philadelphia Eagles. They were able to get I think a third and a fifth, but they traded away some seventh round picks, I believe it was. What is your thoughts on the move? How do you feel about the Commanders trading away Jahan Dotson to the
Um,
Eagles?
I don't think Jahan Dotson is very good personally. He really didn't show anything last year to
Yeah.
really give me the impression that he's like some really good player. He was fighting for reps with Olamide Zacchaeus
Mm-hmm.
and who's that other receiver? I don't even remember the other receiver that's on the Commanders.
Isn't
But yeah, I don't know.
Luke McCaffrey and De'Ami Brown?
Oh yeah, De'Ami Brown, that's who it is. But I mean, listen, this doesn't put the Eagles over the top like some people would think. I mean,
No.
he's a solid player. Like he was going to get cut more than likely if this trade didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't think this makes the Eagles any world beaters or anything. I don't think they're better than the Niners. I don't think they're better than the Lions. I still don't believe that they're better than the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
They might not even be better than us. But I mean,
Mm.
I'm sorry to what it is. Like everybody wants to praise Howie for doing the most simple stuff that everybody like all the like he's literally tapped in with the fans and what they think is the right move or good move, and everybody just gives him credit for that. Like look at the last people he traded for. Darius Leonard was a bust.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Kevin Byard, he was cooked food.
Yeah, he was for sure.
Who else? It was probably somebody else I can't remember. But like, I
James
mean,
Bradbury.
he had one solid year, but all the ball knowers that we knew that was a fake All Pro year. But I mean, yeah, like all these dudes that they like John Dawson, he's not moving the needle.
Uh-huh.
He can barely catch. I mean,
He
I
has
don't know.
trouble separating as well.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know what fans are expecting from him. They talk about they have the best wide receiver trio in the league. I'm like, what?
What are you watching? What have you been watching the past year?
I don't think there's a single highlight Jahan Dotson has against the Eagles. Yet they all jumping up and down in excitement to
Mm-hmm.
get for acquiring him. I don't see this doesn't move the needle in my opinion.
Yeah, so I agree with you. My thing is that you know how it is where you go
I just
from
don't
a
believe in trading in divisions.
I I mean I agree with you too, but if you feel like that player is not good, I mean, and you can get the best trade package, are you really fearful that they're going to go to a new team and cook your team? I think Dan Quinn, he's probably like, look, he can't separate against our best corners, and our best corners are trash. What do
Mm.
you think you're gonna do with the? What do you think you're gonna do with the Eagles? This is all like, oh, he's going from a toxic environment to a winning culture. The
They
typical.
said he was the toxic environment.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I
They
was
said
watching
he has
clips.
bad attitude or something like that, or bad demeanor.
I was watching clips, and they were just breaking down one. There was one clip where he was having trouble blocking. There was another clip where he was having trouble separating. So, man, I just don't see it. Like, if he can't catch, if he's having trouble catching when he was supposedly the best, he had the best hands in the draft, which was just funny as hell to say. Like, come on now, and he has trouble separating. How is he going to function on the Eagles? How's he going to function on the Eagles in the slot if he has trouble separating and he has trouble catching the ball?
Oh my
Was
goodness,
he?
dude! I hope they don't expect Kellen Moore to scheme anybody open, because that ain't happening.
There was a stat. I forget where it happened. The stat, but it was something about, I don't know if it was separation percentage or something. And I remember like Jalen Tolbert was on there. It was some other just wide receivers that were on there that are just not good. And Jahan Dotson was a part of the list as well. And I'm just like, man, like I just don't see it. First round talent just going out of the window. They could have had Chris Olave. And they decided, you know what? We're going to trade down. We're going to get a couple of third round picks
That they did
and
nothing with.
we'll get Jahan Dotson. Like, I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? Like, everybody knew that the right pick was Chris Olave, and they decided we're going to get Jahan Dotson. I'm like, a lot of the draft knowers were looking at him like, Jahan Dotson, he's supposed to be a projected late first, early second round pick, and you reach for him in the middle first round. Why? It just was weird. It made no sense to me because I'm looking at Chris Olave and I'm thinking to myself, like, after Chris Olave, there's a gap. Go back to that draft. There was a clear gap after. Wait, did JSN get drafted after? Wait, where did
No,
JSN? Okay. I
JSN
just
was
want to make
last
sure.
year.
Okay. I was just trying. So yeah, after Chris Olave, there was a gap because if I'm not mistaken,
I
after
believe that was the
Jahan,
Treylon Burks draft.
yeah.
It
So
was
like
it was after It was like, wasn't that Gary Wilson,
yeah,
Chris
Garrett Wilson,
Olave,
Chris
Jamison
Olave.
Williams?
Yeah.
There
And
was
then
that
after
draft.
that, it was Jahan Dotson, Traylon Burks, and then I think we go on. Didn't we go in the second round?
Actually,
It was
Drake
like
London was in that draft class too, wasn't he?
oh yeah, Drake London. Okay, so after those dudes, then Jahan Dotson, it was Traylon Burks, and then I think the second round came around. It was like Christian Watson, George Pickens,
Yeah.
and then what was it, Sky Moore, like.
Hmm.
So like there was a gap after Chris Olave, and for whatever reason, the Commanders thought, you know what, we're gonna trade down Ron Rivera, Ronald McDonald, just completely sabotaging that team. Like I thought Jay Gruden was bad. Ronald McDonald makes Jay Gruden look like a competent head coach because it's just some of the moves he was making. The fact that they made the playoffs as a 7-9 team and he was able to stay as the coach for what was it, 2-3 extra years is egregious. Is absolutely egregious. He real life is a dinosaur in today's game. Like when he was the head coach of the Panthers, they had I think Dave Gettleman was the GM. Like it was just so much stuff going on, man. And Ron Rivera really handicapped that team and sabotaged the Commanders. I thought
Like,
Dan
oh my
Snyder was the
goodness.
problem, but Ron Rivera is also the problem as well. And it's a good thing they finally moved on from him. I think Dan Quinn, he's going to be significantly better. I don't know. I don't know if he'll improve when it comes to the draft area, but I expect him to be better than Ron Rivera because Ron Rivera, he was just he was just blindfolding himself, pulling names out of a hat and saying, "Hey, look, we'll get him." Because every draft pick that Ron Rivera has been involved with in the drafting process has not panned out. Like, they all stink. Emmanuel Forbes, Jahan Dotson, you name it. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, like, come on, man. Like,
now they're trying to move Jamin Davis to edge.
You
he
can't
ain't
make
got an
this stuff
edge
up.
rushing bone in his body.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, man. It's just embarrassing. Yeah, we'll move on to the AFC West. We're gonna go to a different stream and we'll talk about the AFC West. So for all you guys watching the stream right now, go to the other stream and we'll be talking about the AFC West. So we'll see you guys in a minute. Peace.
Salute.
All right.